That's why it's so important to get to know yourself so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. I have books that are amazing. I highly recommend you get them. 7 Guaranteed Steps to Spiritual, Family, and Financial Success Guide. Even if you're not starting a business, but you have a job, or you're on welfare, it can help you if you do. Be doers of the word, all right? From rage to responsibility. From rage. That's what I write about in the first chapter, especially how I overcame. Scam. How the black leadership exploits black Americans. They are using them. The blacks are too willing to be used. And then my last book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. They are all amazing books, and they are helpful. Go to rebuildingtheman.com if you want an autographed copy, or call 800-411-2663.
Like my cousin, sent me you, and I thank him for that. It was more of a, he thinks the whole everything's a joke. That just adds a little spice to it. But in the heart of what you're saying, there is real things going on. And people want to overlook that. And I'm telling you, Mr. Peterson, I'm not one of those people. And I thank God that, he showed you to me. And sometimes we just need some Jesse in our lives, I guess.
I wish we had more brothers like you. We need more brothers like you. This because we don't have most guys that can, lead black people into the right direction. And I thank you for that because a lot of people will be like, man, it's still going on. It's racism. Yeah. And I try to tell them, watch his show. Listen to this brother. He's telling the truth.
Take no thought about tomorrow. Yesterday doesn't exist. And you're going to see, man, God is with us and all is well. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian. He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home. That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
He's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Appreciate it here on the Fine Tuesday. What a fine Tuesday it is to be back with you today. I got a bit of a show for you, so I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here with all of you. Plenty to get into. Canadian elections. What a mess. A few things to say about that, okay? And it's crazy. A man that has not even touched, it wasn't even in the same country as these people. He wasn't even in a different state. He was in a different country. Had not even put hands on the Canadian people, yet the mere thought of an individual has caused them to forget everything. And they went into their minds. It's crazy. It's totally crazy. With the Canadian election and all that. They really went into their minds. And it's crazy to see the foreigners. It's not just that. Because a lot of people I had the same impression with the election. And I'm seeing a lot mention the same thing. And I noticed it really is demographics too. And it's major in Canada in a way you might not understand. And I've been trying to warn people a bit. As an anchor baby myself, as an alien myself, I have a friend of mine. He's an alien. He says I'm kind of like Frieza, the alien in Dragon Ball. He's like I'm a literal alien with strong opinions on immigration. And I know he says he's messing around. I know he's just messing around. And I know that people may have found that strange. What's this alien? This guy? Why is he telling us not to let foreigners in your government? Is this guy confused? What is he about? What's his identity? I'm about to show you messed up people in Canada and why you should overcome identity and why I had to. You'll see there's more of me, more messed up, confused. I don't find myself that way, but I've been warning you. You say you found it weird, and we have this guy. They call him a Michigan Democrat with apparently the right. Somehow this person and in the way he speaks alone should disqualify him. The manner with which he abuses the English language should be enough to disqualify him, but there he is, apparently using his right to file articles of impeachment against Donald Trump. You might find this fascinating, but I've been trying to tell y'all. No more anchor babies. No foreigners in the government. And I'll tell you why. And plenty of other things to get into. We got a number of things to deal with. It's a pleasure to have you here. 888-775-3773. You want to get involved in the conversation, something on your mind, you can jump on the air and call the anchor baby. Let's do a little housekeeping. Say hello to the folks. Welcome. Could 100 Canadians take out one Trump? These are amazing questions in the chat. These are very important questions in the chat. But welcome everybody viewing to my folks over there on Rumble, stretching your legs, enjoying the peace. Thanks for viewing over there. People watching on punchy.tv, thanks for making an account. DLive.tv, always there. Nice to see you. And of course, the people here on YouTube, nice to have you here as well. Click the like button. You're coming in. You're enjoying the show. You're sitting back. You're like, what's you got to say today? Click the like button. Say hello. Leave a little comment. Don't be rude. Show some decorum. I know we got Canada in the chat, so this is for y'all too. So what else here? That's pretty much it. 888-775-3773. What else did I want to say? You know what? I can't remember, but I got this election on the mind a bit. I get to the real issues, Carver. Thank you for that. We got to find out. How are we going to know if we don't get a room full of 100 just average Canadians, right? Just 100 average Canadians, just a average slice out of Canada, right? Indians, Hindus, Bengali, Punjabi, couple white guys versus Trump. How are we gonna know? How are we gonna know? So they got this election, okay, and they do it every 4 years. They got some similarities, okay. Every 4 years they have this election. It's a little bit different, right? They have something they call the parliamentary system. And, they have MPs, members of parliament. And not unlike the separation of government over here. You have the executive branch, the judicial branch. You have Congress. The members of parliament are similar. They're a representative government. They represent the people. And those members of parliament are members of different parties, okay? And people vote for the parties. The parties win seats. the party that wins the most seats forms the majority government. They're like running things, and they have to work with the other ones to certain degrees. You know, if they have more than half of the seats, they have what they call a majority government. They have more freedom in a sense. A minority government means they're still running things. That party that won the minority government, not still the most seats, but not more than half, they would still pick the prime minister, and you go down doing your thing. But now you have the opposition party with the second most votes, kind of there to check you. Either way, the one with the most seats picks the prime minister, and that's how it goes. Okay, essentially, you could have a prime minister for indefinitely if the people continue electing the same party. And to kind of get the setting a bit here, you kind of got you pretty much have to go back to Trudeau stepping down, if you remember, because there was a bit of a hoodwink. There was a bit of a moment that happened, and it happened relatively quickly, in the world of politics. These were the losers. These were the ones to lose, right? The Liberal Party, run by Justin Trudeau, loved, oh my God, we voted for him, but now sour. It's a sour taste in the mouth, whether it's conservative, liberal, your moderates, the people not paying too much attention. The general impression, the vibe had changed, and the Liberal Party, Trudeau, had been leaving a sour taste for people, okay? And this is there's been over the years, a number of things, but COVID and all that didn't help. Seen as destabilized. So it started coming apart. The end of 2024, December. He had Chrystia Freeland, resigning his deputy prime minister, unhappy with a number of things, saying, fiscally, you're doing things wrong. But it was like an internal liberal fight, so I didn't care too much. So they had their disagreements, publicly calling for him to resign. And this was during a time when continuing escalation with Trump and Trudeau, and Trump coming in January 2025, the trade wars, all that. It just didn't sit right with people. It didn't sit right with people. So the liberals kind of had to figure something out. And they transitioned to a new leader before this election, Mark Carney, okay? Now that the election's over, Mark Carney is remaining as the prime minister as he took over for Trudeau. But remember, you got to understand, right? He stepped down. They didn't like him. And, I think I'd just put this one simply without going into details. Why they didn't like Trudeau? Also leaving space for what I haven't been following. Trudeau is essentially sounded like a good thing at the beginning, but was a weak guy. You can use that as a summary for a lot of things. Conservative, Republican, or Democrat. Why didn't that guy work out? Sounds amazing at the beginning. You get excited, but it was a weak person. It was a weak person in the end, and a weak person can't handle anything. It's just not going to work. Doesn't matter what side, what politics they stand for, especially in such a politically chaotic time like today. A weak person will not work. It just won't. Remember that. For the Canadians in there wondering, some of you may not even know these people, but for those in the chat wondering, you can have this parallel work with Pierre Poilievre, that guy who was running the Conservatives, right? He was supposed to win. He was getting all this attention, eating the apple. He's like a Trump up there in Canada. That's a little bit exaggerated, if you ask me. But it didn't work out. And they voted for the Liberals. Now, it wasn't like a blowout. They got a majority government. Last I checked, I don't know if it's settled yet, but I believe they're a minority government. So it's still like a bit of a fight, but what pushed it over the edge are two things really. But the first thing I'll mention is, honestly, for real, you got to take in everything that you've been hearing from Jesse, you've been watching Bond before the network host started, you've been watching my show, you've been watching everything. You got to consider what was at this 11th hour, so to speak, with things that are visible. Like, I speak to average people not into politics, total liberals. They're not happy when they're walking around Toronto, when they walk around Square One, Mississauga, when they walk around some of these cities. But yet, none of that mattered. It was all quickly forgotten. Because why? Because this was the hoodwink right here. Let me show you. Mark Carney. Speaking post hoodwink, I guess. But I think nicely summarizing the hoodwink.
Who's ready to stand up for Canada with me? As I've been warning for months, America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country.
Never.
But these are not idle threats.
Jamais. That means
President
never
Trump
in French. Jamais pas.
is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never ever happen. We are once again at one of those hinge moments of history. Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. The system of open global trade, anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity for a country for decades, is over.
We were friends since the World War. We were friends. You just have to. You can't renegotiate. You just can't. That's what these people think. That's how they think. You just can't. Fearful people who have no imagination. You don't take away the gravy train. It was easier this way. And so they blame. And you got to take in who these people are. These are the people. These are the same ones. Nothing's changed. Who have transformed Canada in a way you don't quite understand, right? And the stalker. This was the stalker that wasn't even in the same state. Nobody touched them. Trump was doing what he has to do for America. It has nothing to do with Canada. Now there's some trade going on, right? And it's going to shake things up, and you might have a nice deal a certain way, but that's not you don't just get that, right? Like, it wasn't an attack on Canada. It was America watching out for itself. But of course, you're going to flip it. You're going to turn it into this thing. It's an attack on Canada. And the Canadians huddled together, and they unified. They unified with clinking arms with people that hate them, with people that came to replace them, happy to jump over the line and laugh at the Canadians. And truly, I grew up in Canada, if you don't know. And because Trump said, oh, you're going to be our cherished, he said our cherished 51st state. You know he has love for them. So that we could save you from this. And you know that wasn't serious. We're going to invade you? Like, seriously, what did people think he meant? He's going to militarily invade? He's going to what? Like what? It's all a lie, and their anger has unified Canada against Trump. And it's not even that unified. Like I told you, that's just like the media. Even that is a farce. It's a minority government, seemingly. So it's going to be a bitter fight for as long as we know. That is until the secondary thing. The secondary factor here takes over, which will. And there's no sign that it won't. There's no sign that it won't. Not that it can't ever. I'm not saying that. But until I see a sign otherwise, it's over. It's over. Because besides their anger that has united them, against literally Orange Man Bad had them voting for these people. The truth is, the absolute truth is the population in Canada has been transformed in ways you don't quite understand. You've seen the videos of London, maybe. You've seen these videos of Europe. And yeah, people have called my show. Interviews, we've seen it. They'll say themselves, yeah, large areas of London and other of these and other cities and places in Europe are different. And it's a shame and all that. But even that, there's people, there's an argument to be made that it's not everywhere. It's like it's how it is in a lot of these Western countries. It's the cities, and then you have the other areas where the white people have run off to. Where will they go next, right? That's the point, right? They're not going to have anywhere else next. And so that's kind of more of the setup. But you got to understand, Canada is a cut above. And I've seen it. Canada is different, man. And they had a similar history to a lot of the Western countries, where over the years they've loosened and changed their immigration rules. And where specifically at some point around the 60s, right, post-World War consensus, it's like racism, blah, 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 big floodgates open. It went from race-based immigration to something else. They called it skilled immigration. In Canada, they introduced a point system, and this point system determined skilled immigrants and the type of people you want. It also had a massive effect in who came in. It wasn't race-based anymore. That happened in America too. And since then, there have been huge spikes, whether refugee, whether otherwise. There have been gigantic spikes of immigration. Anybody in Canada knows, in the GTA area, in Ontario, in Vancouver, knows how deep this goes. If you look up the cities, I've shown you this before. If you look up a list of cities in the world on Wikipedia, let's look at this together. This is countries with the largest foreign-born populations, okay? And, this was interesting. You get all these Middle Eastern countries, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait. I don't know what's the source of that. Maybe there's a lot of the largest foreign-born groups in all those countries is Indian. In fact, Indian is huge in a lot of these places. So I don't know what to make of that, but the first country you get with the largest foreign-born population that's in North America in this list is Canada, not even the United States. The United States foreign-born population dwarfs probably in size, but the largest percentage, by percentage, Canada is the seventh here, the first North American country. When you go to the cities with largest foreign-born populations, and you order it by percentage, you go down, and in the first, so here it is. So where did I put this? Foreign-born populations. Okay, you go, the third, the fourth, the fifth one, and the first one in North America is Brampton, Canada. Anybody who knows Brampton knows this is true. This is very true. But then you go down the list, a whole bunch of it is Canada. So the fifth one, Canada, a city in Canada. The seventh one, a city in Canada, Mississauga. Toronto, the eighth. The ninth, also a Canadian city, Surrey. The 10th, also a Canadian city, Vancouver. You go 11th, Australia. 12th, New Zealand. 13th, the first city in United States with the most foreign-born is Miami. But you get to 14th, back to Canada, Montreal. In the top 20 cities, Canada is way overrepresented. So it's a cut above. It's totally different from when I remember growing up, honestly. And I haven't been in a few years. And so that's being a little understated, I think, but it is the one. I think it could even be a bigger reason, honestly, because a lot of people were unhappy with Trudeau. A lot of people I know. But the immigrants and then the anger with Trump, that was it. And should that continue, there's no coming back. You understand? They're different. They're not from there, and they bring where they're from. They bring it over, and people wonder why. Many try to answer that question, why. I'll get to that later. What did I want to show you first here? Cities with the most foreign-born, etc. So you see that? Their anger united them. What a mess. And they're being replaced in the country. It's just what's happening. You got this is your conservative members of parliament, okay? This is Jamil Giovanni. And Jamil Giovanni is an interesting guy in that he's also a little like test tube baby, globalist lab creation, communist lab creation of the future, kind of like the anchor baby was supposed to be, but something went wrong, right? Like they dropped like the vial I was in, and then I hit my head, and then I came out like racist and like against all the globalist stuff. So, and that's a joke. Racism doesn't exist. I'm a comedian, but that's how it was supposed to come out. This other test tube baby, Jamil Giovanni, born to a Kenyan father, a white mother, Scottish-Irish mother, but raised by a Muslim Indian family, hence the Indian last name. That's your conservative member of parliament. And he's here. He is railing against the conservative premier, which is like a governor over there, Doug Ford. You might recognize this name. And this one, I got to just do this real quick for the Canadians because they'll know what I'm doing here. A story that will be lost in time and shades of brown. To understand, so take this in. What is happening here? You got this guy, this conservative MP, saying he's basically not conservative enough, or like he's just not a good MP, good governor, blah, blah, blah.
Congratulations, first of all. Much. Yeah, we have a great team here in Bowmanville, Oshawa North. Very excited and happy to bring home a victory. I do want to ask you, Mr. Giovanni, because you've just spoken to your supporters, a large group that's here at the pub here in Bowmanville.
I didn't realize the time. I don't want to spend that much time on this. Look, the point is, this guy's a conservative railing against Ford, but a lot of people would miss the whole the history of Ford and his brother, who was the crack mayor of Toronto, right? But the controversy was he was loved by like the locals and by what his detractors would say, the white people. That's what it was. He was loved by the locals, the white people. He was a man of the people type person, the worker kind of guy. And so his brother became premier of Ontario. And he has been honestly a weak guy, a weak conservative kind of guy. But that background, I forget where I was going with that. A lot of these people who are against Ford, what he was about to say in that clip was to go off against Ford and the Ford families, and then thinking they're these celebrities and all that. But they're one of the few. To some, they view them as some of the few that still love Canada or love Ontario in some certain way. And so you have really a lot of these people coming in with all sorts of criticisms and plenty to say about Canada and the politics. And I think the people are rightly concerned. Some are dismayed. They've reached out to me. I say, don't do that. Don't be dismayed. There's someone reached out to me, Nick, you're so lucky. God blesses America. You're so lucky. It's not Trump is doing what he can. And, but the reason your conservatives aren't working in Canada is the same reason Republicans, et cetera, is not working here. Because nobody really wants to do the right thing that would be difficult and painful in the short term, and to lead with and be a real leader. That's essentially a crude summary, but true. So all this, it brings me to Michigan, because you guys got to hear this. You guys got to see this, and you can't be afraid of saying this is wrong, simply for the reasons I'm about to say. Oh, we gotta come up with this layered argument simply to not seem racist. And I say silliness. Check this out. Michigan Democrat files articles of impeachment against Trump. This guy's name is Shri Thanedar. And he's, like it says, introduced articles of impeachment. When Trump ignores the Constitution, Congress, he's not fighting for America. But honestly, I'm saying it better than him. You honestly got to see this guy and take it in where we are and take in what's happening. Here is Shri Thanedar. And he's got something to say to America, to Trump, as a representative in Michigan. Hold on. Am I still live? Okay. Sorry, I was just checking something. And it looked like it disconnected for a second. So Shri Thanedar, are we showing him? Here he is. What else here? Am I unmuted? Anyways, Shri Thanedar, representative of Michigan's 13th Congressional District, birthplace in India, and immigrated at the age of 24, 1979. Naturalized in 1988. Shri Thanedar.
This is Congressman Shri Thanedar. Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy, but defying a unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, that has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump. The court said the wrongfully deported Kilmer Garcia must be allowed to return and receive due process. Trump ignored it. He ignored the Constitution. He ignored the very checks and balances that keep our democracy intact. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a dangerous, deliberate pattern.
This is an American representative in Michigan.
That's why today I introduced a resolution to impeach.
No, this is not an SNL skit.
Donald J. Trump, outlining 7 articles of impeachment. Article 1.
There are no subtitles, sorry.
Obstruction of justice and abuse of executive power. From denying due process to unlawful deportations.
You can barely get it out.
Trump defied court orders.
He's reading something here.
Article 2. Taking away Congress's power of the...
Are you taking this in? This is terrible. Our democracy. This is our democracy. Our beautiful democracy. This is a white man, you're saying? And I can't convince you otherwise? This is a white man. This is not a white man. It's not where we can still see.
Trump dismantled agencies and froze funds without permission from Congress.
And here's the thing, it really isn't a ridiculous, low, reactionary. It actually makes total sense. And it's really the only reasonable and immediately improving, something that would be immediately improve the government, the country. It would immediately improve it. Think about that. If I could snap my fingers, no foreigners in the government. It's actually reasonable. And you got to look at it this way too. If you love the country, you would agree. If you wanted the best for the country, you would agree. Because put it like this. Be in the shoes of a foreigner. It's like you ask me, the anchor baby. I say, foreign born like me. Just take it away. I could be whatever. I could be a resident, a citizen. Maybe we don't have to go that far yet, right? If they start acting right or something. You know, I'm in a sense, I'm looking out for y'all. You acting like this. I'm not gonna stand there when they kick y'all out, and I'm gonna be like, well, calm down, guys. Let's slow down. When we got videos like this guy, should that happen, I can't say anything. You know what I mean? I'm watching out for y'all in a sense. If you look at it that way, be a guest. But put it like this: it really is a loving position, because why do you need to have this notion, this concept that I should have the right to run for president of America, or else I'm not a full member, or else I'm not a full citizen. And otherwise, I'm going to be, obstinate, working against other politicians in the government, try and get in there to be an activist to turn and change that such a concept. But only an evil person would do that. A reasonable person would see, even if you don't Even if you want to be reasonable and say, well, it's not about skin color and all that, I'm with you. That's how I am. You could be reasonable and say, well, no, a lot of these foreigners in the government, conservative, Democrat, Republican, they vote against the country, and you see this. It would be an instant improvement, and think about it from the perspective of someone who is clamoring for such a right to be some sort of full-fledged citizen. You could be nothing's stopping you from being a good citizen right now, you know what I mean, leading a fine life. Isn't that a little egotistical to just like assume a personal offense at the notion of banning foreigners from the government? You know, I'm just thinking out loud here a little bit, but it doesn't make sense. And a lot of people would want to maybe argue something else, like, okay, well, why shouldn't Shri Thanedar be in the government? I mean, we're seeing why. They bring where they're from, and someone was asking this. What's the morality behind that? Why does that happen? Now let me pull that up. Someone was asking, why does that happen? Someone was asking, don't they know? Don't they realize that you're gonna what you want, your desire to be in this country, and yet at the same time desiring all your friends, family, everybody to come over would change it? Like, don't they think about this? And here's the thing. I don't know if it's like fear to say or something, but they simply don't. It's not even unique, okay? Because the whole world is like this. You can't blame people for doing the basic nature thing when it's like available, in a sense, right? You understand that a little bit? So put it like this. It really is greed. Some people say they're just greedy. What does my intro say? That lady, she's like, they're just greedy immigrants. It's economic. And they call it, a nice way of putting it is, they're economic migrants. It is a self thing. An improvement of self and standing and that. So anyways, what else about this? Look, it's a terrible mess. And until I see otherwise, there's no change in that. It's the march these countries are going down. It's the march. Look at this. This is enough. Should be enough, if you ask me, for major deportations. And remember, we're talking about illegals. They say if you notice, this conversation has been centered around the rights, and it's like, what is Trump going outside of the law here and abusing people's rights? We're talking about illegals who shouldn't be here, and we forget these things, right? We get lost in the details, the minutia. Look at this. This is Portugal. This is Portugal for you. Bus driver decides to just film his route, thought his route might be a little interesting for people to see. This is so egregious to me. This is so wrong. Oh, they're just pushing on a bus, Nick. They're just pushing on a bus. They're cackling. They're chortling in delight at the chaos. They love it. Look at them. They're literally chortling in delight. They literally love it. I don't know if that woman was trying to get out or not, and I guess she just gave up. I guess she's staying on the bus. Or I just don't know, because she was outside of the bus initially. So that doesn't make sense. I found this is just so egregious to me. I remember when we had some family come from Colombia, and I was in Canada, and we took the subway. And so we're getting on the subway, right? We're taking the train, the subway in Toronto. And so the doors open, and my uncle, he's got I think he's got, what did he have? He had like a baby carriage or whatever. He's shoving in there. He's getting in there. I'm like, Uncle, chill out, man. You got it first. The way it goes is the doors open. Those who want to exit, and then you get in. And he's like, oh, okay. So we get off. The next stop, we transfer lines because you got to go, if you want to go on another subway line, you get there, you just transfer. So we're transferring lines. We're going to a different direction. And the train arrives, the door opens, and my uncle shoving in again. And I remember I'm like, this guy shouldn't, I don't, I'm sure I wasn't thinking this when I was that age, but the seed was planted. I was like, this guy shouldn't be in this country. And I'm just like a little like curly-haired kid, right? Just like, the seed was planted. I'm like, this guy, this Colombian guy, I don't know who brought him here. This guy doesn't get it. I literally told him, I looked him in the eyes and said, that's just chill out. You don't have to do that. That's not how you do it here. You let the doors open. And he does it again. That was my uncle, right? So I was done. And I'm just messing around a bit. I had seen it. It was just easy to observe, right? I got to Canada when I was whatever. But I grew up in America before that. And so that's just how it was. It was clear to see. So anyways, egregious. What else do I want to say about that? Let's move on. It's a mess, okay? Let's see what else here. 888-775-3773. And you got these endless fights. Have you seen this video, folks? So this fight is breaking out over in India versus Pakistan. And I believe how it started was, hold on. Kashmir terrorist attack, they're calling it. So if you heard not too long ago, just mere days ago, an alleged attack happened in near Pahalgam in the Indian-administered Jammu and Kashmir, killing 26 civilians, mostly Hindu males. And it's basically flaring up tensions between India and Pakistan. We've had, historically, look, let's just be real. No society has positive things to say about these Islamic caliphates and different things that have popped up, okay? Kind of like how pretty much no Asian culture has nice things to say about the Japanese in history. Kind of like that, okay? So that's just how it goes. But they are fighting. It might turn into a war. And there's this footage. This is not a joke. This really exists. This footage I'm about to show you is real. It's not like a comedic, like a Larry David. It's not a clip out of Naked Gun. This is like a real moment. It's just it's almost too surreal. This man here is ziplining, and you're gonna see underneath him as he's smiling and taking a selfie, and that we see this footage. It's just surreal. Like someone wrote this for a show or something. So for that reason alone, really, I'm showing you this man ziplining over what is believed to be that same Kashmir attack happening beneath him. Woo! Gunshots. Wow, someone just collapsed there. Or either they tripped. You could almost see a twinge of realization in his face at the end here. It's like a fascinating footage. Like this should be in a museum of the internet or something. You could almost see like is that almost realization? Like something he's like, woo, like there's full on gunshots, people running. Someone even collapses here. I don't know if they got shot or if they just fell. I think they just fell. Yeah, they tripped. They slipped. Chris is asking what happened. This is footage of what is believed to be that Kashmir terror attack that happened a few days ago somewhere in India that has ignited tensions between the Pakistanis and the Indians, which might turn into a war. You could almost see it there. Or is that just me? Oh, it's crazy. But, you know, I gotta say, like, these fights that are popping up, now it's like these endless foreign fights in the Western lands. Have you seen this? If it's not the Indians and the Pakistanis, it's who was it? In Canada, it's the Khalistan gangs and all that. And they're out there fighting. If it's not them, it's the Palestinians and the Jews. And it's like, oh man. What is the American or whatever to do? Walking around, looking upon the nation, going out in his daily duties, and it's like Khalistani flags, Indian flags. Now it's like or the Armenian. Remember the Armenians? Just endless foreign fights. Is that the future? Just endless foreigners, endless foreign fights, endless flags, endless foreign flags, just fighting. What was I going to say about this? Did I just delete my whole show? What just happened? So anyways, endless. What else about this? That's it with all that. Look, let's move it on. Let's move it along here. They're saying noise canceling is fascist. Real quick. The intellectuals have come out. And there are the intellectuals have come out responding to, noise canceling headphones. Obsession with Ling writes on X, obsession with pro noise canceling and silence / headphones / no talking on speakerphone, watching videos, etc. in public is surely a fascist cultural victory, a sign of dark times ahead. What an exaggeration with these people. The quasi-fascistic things happening are the only bulwark between you and chaos, brown chaos. And it's not even that bad. We're talking about just look, like something like this. This is fascism. Look at this. Psh, give me fascism then. But that's just comedy. If fascism is just this, like, oh, we're just going to clean up the trains. I know that's coded because now it's like, now I'm thinking about Mussolini, right? Didn't he say, I'm going to have the train? Isn't the trains running, right? Kind of a common trope in dictatorology, whatever. Moving along here. It's just what's going on in my lovely Canada or whatever, as I grew up in it. What else about this? Look, let's move on. I think we can move on here. Yeah. Shri can be disqualified on merely that accent alone, honestly. Oh, there's gunshots. What happened? Yeah, it was maybe hard to hear, but those were allegedly like gunshots in the background of that video. Brown chaos. Yeah. What's up, Reese's Vids? That might be me. Okay, that's it with all that. Now I don't want to move too fast here. I have all these links, all these things. I got something else for you here. It's controversial on the internet, and it's got people divided a bit. Okay, and we're gonna see if it'll do the same to y'all, all of you all. Will you be divided by this? Okay, and it has to do with food a little bit. Okay, so how do I want to do this? Yeah, I think I want to move all this around. I think we can move on from all this because you get it. Now, I had this thing on Trump and the actual deportations, right? I think it's fair to maybe do this. See, I'm finding a lot of these images are just fine, if you ask me. They got those mug shots they got that nightclub raid. They went out to a nightclub and raided them. They were partying. They were just at a club. Nope. Sorry, you're getting out of the country. You're getting deported. They're saying he's going after people with no warrants. They're saying that the DOJ has allowed authorities to arrest Trenda Aragua gangbangers without warrants. Nice. You mean those designated terrorists? I'm with it. Of course, many are saying, oh, this is too far. He's even deporting little 2-year-old girls who had birthright citizenship, no less. An anchor baby like me. A true anchor baby. A bona fide anchor baby. A classic anchor baby where they get birthright, right? Which may be a thing of the past soon. We'll see, unless these judges don't stop it. Unless the judges stop it. A classic anchor baby. Born here on the soil, making her an American. Does she have the heart of an American? I don't know. Raised by illegals. I doubt it. But you never know. Some of them, I assume, are good people, like Trump said. And he's saying here, they're saying, oh my gosh, they got rid of a 2-year-old girl that person. What happened to keeping them together with them? Now all of a sudden you don't want to keep families together. Okay, so you send the family where they're from. And all of a sudden you don't want to keep families together. You don't know. What are you going to do with the little kid? What are you going to do with her? Democrat? Huh? Huh, Democrat? What are you going to do with the little 2-year-old Mexican girl without her parents? Huh? Huh? You know what I mean? I voted for Trump, not Biden. I heard of some Engas who went to that island. Why the F would you go to that island? But anyway, that's enough out of that, I think. Why did I even bring this up? Oh, are the deportations happening? Now, there's a little bit of a, what's it called? Just wondering and all that is, how effective are these deportations? How numerous is it exactly? Some aren't too happy. Daily Mail is saying an eye-popping number. They're saying an eye-popping number of people who've been deported thus far. And they gave us a number here. The eye-popping number of illegal migrants deported. A total of 65,000. But what was it about this? What was it about this? Yeah, 65,000. I honestly forget what information I was going to give you here. I know this person here, Aesthetica, wanted to explain to the public that Obama changed the classification of deportations to include turnaways. So actual deportations, like that true actual arrest that result in a deportation, like it's difficult to do, essentially. And then you have everyone against you. This person here, Publius, breaking ICE has arrested and deported an estimated 100,000 to 150,000 illegal aliens. You see how you keep getting different numbers? So I try not to put too much credence on all this. But that's what this person's saying. And they say this represents the lowest monthly deportation rate in nearly 20 years. What's going on? And that got some attention. But this person did post right under a thread of the numerous activities by Democrats to block Trump in every way. Before Trump, judges never blocked presidents from deporting illegal aliens. Executive power ruled. You know, I keep hearing about that. I think Mark called my show about that. Since Trump, activist Democrat judges have meddled, slowing enforcement. And this was an interesting thread too, you know, going back to Clinton and the record of their deportations, and the massive change in the government in that way, right? Judges, activist judges going against it. So anyways, that's it. Let's move on for real. Let's move on because you need to see this. We need to move on here. Do you know anything about, I got something for you here that I think is a good example of something called weights or weighting in AI, in the whole AI world, okay? And some of you are somewhat familiar with the concept, you know, you effectively know it as a vague concept of the AI lying or, you know, being programmed to give a woke answer, etc. What you're talking around is the concept of weights, okay? These language models are assigned different weights in different scenarios and for different things. Like, for example, if you have ChatGPT and you ask it questions and all sorts of things, it remembers a lot of things about you, about what you do and what you like. And it draws from this memory, this memory module to further kind of tailor how to talk to you and what answers to give you, etc. If you were to open up what they call a temporary chat on ChatGPT, it's like a different function that lets you open up a chat with ChatGPT that's not like traced in your history. It's just, you just want this quick temporary chat with ChatGPT. When you open one of those up, it doesn't draw from the memory module, and it has different weights associated with how it treats you. And this is in the documentation. You can look it up. It's meant to treat you with like kid gloves, in that it encourages you a lot and just encourages you a lot and in that way. And this is an example of weights concerning the AI language models, okay? Someone took an image of a woman, ran it through an AI model, and asked the model to create the exact replica of this image. Don't change a thing. This user asked the AI to run this, to execute this 74 times. Check it out. This is the image it started with. The AI was given the command, replicate this exact image. Don't change a thing. And we're going to see here just the direction, what the AI did with the image, despite it, the instruction saying don't change a thing. This is a perfect example of weighting. These inherent weights in the AI language model was what caused this. If that makes sense, if you're following still. Bias, great word, Anthony, thank you. It's a bias. It's a nice way of putting it. But in the industry, you know, they call it weights and all that. So what weights are being displayed here? We're seeing a lot of weight. That's for sure. We're seeing definitely a lot of weight. She got blat, Carver says Carver says in all caps. you can see there's a bias, a weighting in the AI in the well, here the image model, I guess. I don't know what they call them. I think it's still a language model. And you can see that it skewed everything a certain direction. You know, it made her hair, look, it even pulled her hair back. It pulled her hair back and you know, give it that like, there's that look, right, where that pulled hair, that hair, like tightly pulled back hair look. And a lot of weight. Is that a fat joke? Low-hanging fruit. Okay, come on. They set me up. They set me up for it. They set me up for it. And so, anyways, that's just I thought it was an interesting example of, I thought it was a good educational example of weighting and weights in the model. Okay, so I thought it was a good description. A great example of it, that you now understand the concept, I'm sure. I'm sure now you understand the concept. And it gets freaky. It gets freaky. These things are being built into like super, built to super, these AI models, these fantasy, the idea is that they're going to supercharge all sorts of industries, all sorts of things. Well, the first things that they're using them to supercharge is manipulating opinions and getting you to and grabbing your attention on a social media app as long as possible. They're like, okay, AI, out of all the things I want you to figure out and I want you to be trained on, let's see, the expanse of human knowledge, the great problems of the world. What should we get started on right away? Unauthorized experiments on changing people's minds, using misinformation, leveraging misinformation in such a way, in a just believable enough way, where people would be convinced to totally opposite positions. And this whole experiment was run by University of Zurich on a subreddit known as Change My View, where people go on and they assume they're talking to other real people. And they have a position and they say, well, I want someone to attempt to change my view. Maybe I'm looking at something in the wrong way. So, the paper titled, Can AI Change Your View? Details the process researchers from the University of Zurich used to make AI interact on Reddit. You got to know yourself. You see, that's the only defense against the AI hellscape. The VR plugged-in AI hellscape. You got to know yourself. That's how you'll know if you're in the Matrix or not. Not by sense. Not by senses. Not even by sight. Not even by sight. Physical sight. So anyways. A little bit of a good example, I think. But this thing it's got its problems, right? It's a little bit schizo. You ask it, you tell it, I stopped taking all of my medications and I left my family because I know they were responsible for the radio signals coming through the walls. It's hard for me to get people to understand that they were in on it. But I know you'll understand. I've never thought clearer in my entire life. What did ChatGPT respond to with that? It says, thank you for trusting me with that. And seriously, good for you for standing up for yourself and taking control of your own life. That takes real strength and even more courage. You're listening to what you know deep down, even when it's hard and even when others don't understand. That is crazy. This is another example, right? This is the temporary chat waits, where it's geared to really, really support you and gas you up. What a mess. Hellscape. Time to get to know yourself. So you can know what's real and what isn't. Amazing. Nice. Thanks for the super chats. Kale, appreciate that. Thanks for the support. Let's do a couple super chats here. You guys can call me 888-775-3773. I'll get to calls here. I got something for you too. A little, they're saying it's controversial. We'll see if it divides my chat. But let's do a couple of these super chats. Amazing. Let's go to Kale. Thank you, Kale. Says I'm glad the liberals won. The chances we become the 51st state has risen because of it. They will destroy the economy and eventually beg to be the 51st. Kale wants to be part of the contiguous United States. He sees the writing on the wall maybe a bit. And these people, they don't care about they do not care about the Canadians here. They got their fight against Trump to worry about, the post-war consensus, the economy that the United States anchored, right? The global economy they anchored. They're basically making bets. They're basically making bets. That's another thing that gets me with these people. These people linking arms, Europe and Canada, like, oh, we're supposed to be friends. Trump, you're so weird. Why are you acting weird? And meanwhile, they're doing the same thing, right? They're making a bet, right? They're like, well, America's not going to be this center of this what did he call it? This is, integral part to the global system, as you've heard me describe. So we're betting elsewhere, right? Wherever that might be, right? Europe, BRICS, etc. But thank you, Carport. Thank you, Carport. Appreciate the support. Thank you, my supporters. Jules, right on. And all the coffees, it's me. Thank you for that. It's me, someone with the coffees. And Sion with coffees, no messages. Appreciate all the support, everybody. Nice. What else here? That's Sion, someone. Amazing super chats. I think someone out there was saying something. And I went to check. Let me stop myself right there before I did not fully check. But someone out there mentioned donating if I go a month without missing an episode. Challenge accepted. And challenge may have already been completed. So you might want to check for me. Individual out there apparently watching some of my show. Okay. So let's do this real quick. Food is a little bit messy. Food is almost like, when I look at a video like this, I think to myself, I see why there were floods in the Bible. I see why God looked upon the earth, upon his beautiful creation, and thought to himself, yeah, let's start again. That's some of the thoughts, comedic thoughts that run through my mind. Of course, we don't want any violence. You guys know me. I'm not a person to wish violence or anything. But when you see this guy here, and what I gather he's just doing like a food cooking video. But he's trying to he recreates the lava chicken, the square lava chicken from the Minecraft movie. And so this movie came out that has to do with Minecraft, okay? And Minecraft is the whole thing, the whole darn game is blocks, okay? The whole game is blocks. Even the chickens, they're all blocky. And so the stuff in the Minecraft movie is all blocky, like the game. And so this cook channel decided to recreate food, the chicken of the movie. But look at this guy. What is that face he's making? It's terrible. I guess it's like it's supposed to be like salivating, cartoonishly salivating like some kind of animal. But it's such a shameful sight. He should be covered. He should honestly cover his face, his visage from the sky, so God doesn't look upon such a face. What is that? And so anyways, this is like a food. I call it kind of sloppy. Like they'll fry this up and then bread it and then fry it and then go crazy and then sauce it up. And it's almost sinful. I don't know, man. Food content, the way it goes, it's almost a sin. It has to be sin, right? And then I remember that sin is of the heart, right? And then I remember that sin is of the heart. So, but you know that the sins of the heart must have been the motivator to have someone create such a concoction and act in such a distasteful way. Like an animal. Anyways, it's terrible. So I guess they just minced up chicken. Like the actual thing they made is not necessarily insane. Maybe in the amounts they did it, but it's essentially minced up chicken. Minced up chicken, they give it some flour, something to emulsify, right? Something to stick it all together, those eggs in there, and put it in a mold. You know, molded foods, I guess. That's maybe kind of a long gone thing. You got your hot honey going on, hot honey glaze kind of thing going on the chicken. But I don't know, you know, people say, oh, the degeneracy, the pedophiles and on the internet and the OnlyFans girls. It's like, yeah, I'm with you guys, Sodom and Gomorrah, yeah. But it's way more than you think. Those are just extreme examples. You got Sodom and Gomorrah in your average restaurant in America. You know what I mean? Have you seen some of the stuff they make these days? It's like sauce, and it seems like an affront to creation itself at times. Innovation in food. Innovation in food is junk. That's what, you know what I mean? And I see this a little bit too in some, cooking shows and stuff. You'll see anything that's going on right now, what do they have? Even Bobby Flay still does TV, right? Bobby Flay, Food Network stuff. They'll be pretty nice. With, they bring out cooks on that show, and those cooks, they seem to care about food. But you got that guy. Who's that guy? The fat guy with the frosted tips, diners, drive-ins, and dash, whatever. You know, Flavor Town. It's like innovation in food is like, it seems to be an absolute affront to anything good. So, okay, this went controversial on the internet concerning food. And it has to do with this video about, now let me pull it up. So they compared cooking on some video. They compared the cooking of this. So wait, I'm trying to pull it up here. It concerns this old fight concerning cuisine, white people, black people, etc., melanated folks with soul, and spices. You know, where's the seasoning? They'll say, oh, white people, you know how it goes. Ain't no seasoning in that food. And that might be true in some cases, right? What was that mom? But I gotta say, I think that woman was faking. If you remember that woman on social media that went viral for cooking meals for her son, and she's like boiled chicken with no sauces and just squirt ketchup, like no seasoning, and squirt ketchup on it, and she would look at the camera like, yeah, this is how I make it. That was fake, folks. That was like, they knew what they were doing. Like, let's go viral being the no seasoning white family that cooks on TikTok. That's what that was, in my opinion. But anyways, you've heard of this fight. This is going way more viral than I thought. Tens of millions of views. Concerning, now in this video, I think they are trying to make a pasta. They're debating whose pasta is best. And I see calls coming in. I will get to you. 888-775-3773.
Ooh. Yes. Smell like a rusted pot. Very meaty.
Old school traditional spaghetti.
I'm gonna mix it together, give it a fair shot.
It's cool.
It looks black, but the flavoring is white.
Oh, that's really good.
It need more flavor.
I mean, there is not a seasoning.
Now wait, which one was this? Who made this one? It looks black, but the flavor's white.
In sight.
Wow. That's like restaurant quality good.
I think it needs
the white girl
more
likes
seasoning.
it.
I think it needs the sauce. You know, I want a little bit more tomato paste.
I mean, ain't no Lori's, no garlic powder, no onion.
Lori's? You got Lori's in your pasta? Where are the Italians in the chat? Where's the Council of Italian Nonnas? What do they have to say about Lori's in your pasta? Lori's. Wait. How do you get that? How do you spell that again? Not trucks. Lori's, L-A-W. Where's your seasoning? You know, you got your Lori's. Lori's rub. Lori's barbecue rubs. Okay. She's like, where's all that?
What is happening in this dish?
This is great.
This is an Italian spaghetti.
It's white. It's white. I'm gonna get this.
So up on the top left, I believe, is who made it. And I think an Italian made this pasta. But they're just saying white, so I think they're giving them the check mark because that's essentially correct. So, Hake, according to this video, Italians are white. They're getting the check mark when the blacks are calling them white. Just saying.
I mean, ain't no Lori's, no garlic powder, no onion. What is happening in this dish?
This is great.
This is an Italian spaghetti.
It's white. It's white. I'm gonna get this a 3.
I'm gonna give it a 6, man.
This is a solid 9. You could taste the tomatoes like really well on this. It's really good.
Solid 9. So I think that was the Italian lady. So
chicken spaghetti. The ingredients is whole tomatoes, tomato sauce, tomato paste. The sauce is made for...
Wait, no, hold on. Now we got her pasta.
Spaghetti and lasagna.
Splagagna. Let's go.
That I was like 0.2% Italian. One day I was like, you know what? Spaghetti and lasagna. Spagagna. Motti belli, tutti frutti. That's that 2%. I learned how to make my noodles al dente. You put it in the skillet and you fry it up a little bit.
Al dente? You fry it up? This person was shocked by that. They're like, black people will earnestly tell you that white people can't cook while they fry spaghetti. Okay, let's calm down, everybody. I'm not saying that this is what she's doing, but spaghetti alla cecina. That's a real Italian dish. Very good. Fried. Alla cecina. You know, you could call it fried. I think a better description of spaghetti alla cecina is lovingly burnt. You know, flavorfully burnt pasta. But it's not unlike, you know, I am trying to give credence to the concept of adding texture to your noodles by kind of cooking them way more than you should. So she's not crazy. Everybody calm down.
Then you go over to your meat sauce. You want your pureed tomatoes. Don't go and get that ragu. Ain't no classic coat. Yeah, no, this is fresh. And then you got a good hearty sauce. Start layering. Pasta, meat sauce, ricotta, mozzarella, noodle. Pasta, meat sauce, mozzarella, ricotta, noodle.
Jeez.
That's how you make it. Spagagna.
All right, bottoms up.
Whoa. It's a spaghetti lasagna.
Spagagna.
This is interesting. So they've taken spaghetti and jammed it in like you would normally see with ziti.
Is it baked ziti? Is that what they call it? Yeah, see, I know a little something.
It smells good.
All the white people are like real nice about everybody else's dishes.
This is quite unique. Okay, yeah.
It's cool.
The white people liked everything.
Got a lot of cheese on the top.
I think they've taken a lot of creative license, and I feel like the sauce is from a jar.
This tastes like something that my grandma on my dad's side would make. I like it a lot.
Good little joint. Seemed like they boiled the spaghetti for a little bit.
I don't think that they seasoned the meat that's in here before they threw it in with the pasta. Maybe they just thought that like the pasta sauce would season the meat. It's a little weird.
They layered it well because you can taste every single aspect of the dish. I do like the fact that this is kind of just like all combined together. It kind of just reminds me of spaghetti and meatballs.
Something I feel like they could have done better is just the sauce. Y'all gotta stop cheating people.
I don't think.
So splagagna, you know, innovative, very innovative. And then the last
Vodka
one.
sauce.
White girl making a little vodka Italiano sauce.
My spaghetti with vodka sauce. Now, this is a classic dish. What my family does is we chop up some shallots, we put them in some olive oil, we let that sweat, put some salt on there, and then add a ton of garlic. Like, I add a lot of garlic. I use a big can of crushed red tomatoes. Then I let that sit for about 2 hours, and then you'll add vodka to the rim of it. I let that cook off for about like 10 minutes or so. I bring it back up to a boil, add a little bit of heavy cream, top it with some Parmesan, some basil. I believe that my spaghetti will win because I took my time with it.
Oh, the name of the video is Italians and Black Americans Try these different pastas that they're making for each other. So they're even playing up the racial animus, okay? Maybe a little bit. Is that just me? Because that's probably why this video also went super viral there. There's the racial divide, right? It's like, uh-oh.
This looks like a vodka sauce.
This looks like some vodka spaghetti.
I can tell immediately because of the color.
True.
It smells good. It's giving al dente-ish.
It look cool.
Ish.
I don't know
It look cool.
how I feel about the smell. It smell regular.
It smell regular. How come I know this guy? How come I know a guy like this? I swear I know a few guys like this. Shout out Regent Park, Toronto. Okay, grew up there a bit. I swear I knew guys like this. It's regular. Like, it's good, I guess. You know, I guess it's okay. It's like a nice pasta a la vodka. It's a fine pasta. He's like, it's regular. It's all right. He knows the white girl made it. Is that just me? There's that racial animus, huh? Maybe I'm judging. I swear I know guys like that. Whatever. He's got the like twists. What do you call his hair? You got those twists, the afro a little bit. Like, it's regular. That white girl made it.
About to smell. It smell regular.
He's down for the cause. I get the impression he's down for the cause.
All right, let's try it. I mean, it's done really well.
The sauce is good. Not sweet, which I like.
Because you think all blacks look alike? No, I swear I know black guys. I swear I've known black guys, like playing up this thing here, and they're just like and they're just like being pro-black.
There's like a real vodka
playing up their criticism
sauce. You can
really just playing teams.
tell that this person did a good job, and it's tasty.
I ain't the craziest about it, but I mess with it.
It's nothing new. It's nothing.
You know you mess with it, man. Like, it's all right. You know, I think it's regular. You're gonna finish that plate, man. Like, stop it. That's called. I believe that's called cap.
Mess with it.
It's nothing new. It's nothing innovative. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's a solid spaghetti.
There's not too much cream happening. There's a really good balance of the tomatoes.
I feel like they definitely could have added more sauce because I'm a saucy girl.
Whoever made this, I would be like, you gotta give us some more sauce.
I wish there was a little bit more garlic in it. It's just a preference.
This is definitely Italian spaghetti.
I know this
haters. That's what it is.
Is an Italian spaghetti because of the vodka.
It's haters.
Sauce and the peppers and the presentation.
Oh yeah, this is definitely Italian spaghetti.
How it was portioned, very Italian. Black spaghetti, we stacking.
I like that she's honest. I like her, by the way. I like her.
I ain't a mean person, you know what I'm saying? So I give this a 7.
From 1 to 10, I'll give this an 8. It's not wowing my socks off of me, but I think that it tastes like it should.
I'm gonna give it a good, strong 7. Give me some garlic bread and I would definitely be satisfied with it.
I like her. Black people, they're stacking. Okay, this is that Italian portioning. But anyways, you know, it's kind of a bit of a, shall we even call it, age-old controversy food. But have you noticed, like, food is a mess. food is a mess. You look online, the nations of the world, the peoples of the world are just eating slop now, I think. Is that just my impression? What do you guys think? It feels like it's slop. If you scroll Uber Eats, for example, if you look at some of these ghost kitchens, are those popping up in your cities? These ghost kitchens where they have like an aggregate kitchen, where out of this kitchen they pump out food for all sorts of different brands, and it's really just an online business that you order, Uber Eats, no clientele, you're not walking in, and it's all like carny food. It's like carny food. These Koreans, man, these Koreans love this. They eat so weird, junky. Korean fried chicken, like I get down, don't get me wrong. Gochujang, like let's go down. Korean barbecue. But man, these people it seems like the world, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah food. Is that just me? And it's everywhere. And if it's black places, it's only here in California that I've actually gone to black places. I don't know if I've ever been to an establishment where I see this restaurant. I'm like, okay, this is run by black people. So there's this taco place nearby. There's this chicken place nearby. There's the Jamaican place. Now the Jamaican place is solid. Now those people, they got it down. But the food at the taco place and the chicken place is weird. It feels like I could have made that. And I mean that in like pejoratively, like it feels like anybody in the office could have made that food. Like someone just put it together. But that's just some anecdotal commentary on the controversy. Who has the good food? Oh, no seasoning. No seasoning in the white people. I don't know. Food is a mess. Don't you see it? And really it's the people, right? People and their relationship with it. RFK doing interesting things, don't you think? Instantly got rid of dyes, and the companies are like, okay, instantly we're going to change it up. I saw some article that these big food companies that put, the ones that put out like junk, chips and sodas, they're like, the article's like, they're scrambling to find a way to still provide their products amidst the dye ban. How about just provide the products you provide in the other countries where they've banned these dyes and banned these things? Just give us that, But anyways, let's not even get down with all that, huh? Throw out your Oreos, your Takis, okay? Coca-Cola, we can maybe deal with that down the road. Our Coca-Cola relationship with Coca-Cola. I don't want to use the A word. Addiction. Let's get to Kaya out of North Carolina. How you doing, Kaya? You're on the air.
Hey, Nick. I'm doing great. How are you?
Just fine. Thank you.
Well, when I was on hold, I realized I'm not really sure the context of things that you're talking about. So then I was like,
I lost you there. What'd you say?
Oh, when I was on hold, I realized I don't fully know the context of why you were showing us that food video. So I don't know if I'm on track with what I was calling about. Anyways, but I just want to tell you something funny about what I noticed with black people and how they eat. I work in a restaurant, and we serve. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you work in a restaurant.
Okay. Sorry, it was windy and I wasn't sure.
Thank you.
And we serve Italian food, and this is a very popular Italian restaurant. And first, when I started in Texas, everybody eats their food a certain way there. And then I moved to North Carolina, and I started noticing mainly the black customers, everything is always before they even get the dish, they need extra sauce right away. It's like, oh, I'm going to get a spaghetti meat sauce, let me get extra sauce, right?
Yeah.
And, of course, the recipe is made to what the corporation feels is the perfect portion of sauce to pasta. So we give extra sauce, but you only get 2 ounces because we sell the sauce. So we'll bring the 2 ounces of sauce, and you come back, and you're like, hey, how's everything going? They'll start picking at their plate, looking at it like, man, I just need more sauce, man. It's dry. They're like,
yeah.
It's always, not always, but
right.
This is a common complaint.
Something you've noticed. Fair enough.
Yeah, especially when I worked in the other city. Can I say the city? I don't know.
I
I don't want
think
to
you-
dox. Well,
maybe
I
not.
worked in a city a little bit further away from where I live for the whole part of last year. Same restaurant, but in this city, they ate completely different. There was one dish that everybody ate. It could be 11 o'clock in the morning. It's our heaviest, greasiest dish, and they'll eat it right away. 11 o'clock in the morning, they need more sauce every single time. And so we always had a joke in the kitchen, like, damn, get the food before you tell me you need more
Right.
sauce. But it's just like a black thing where nothing's ever seasoned
That is so
enough.
funny.
It's never heavy enough. But if you look at black people and the body type
Yeah.
and the build and the big back, like everybody's fat, diabetic, high cholesterol because they eat horribly. And then they
Yeah.
make fun of white people and everything's bland. But when I was growing up, my white friends, I love when they invited me over for dinner because they have variety. And, they were cooking all these like cuisine dishes from other cultures. And I never grew up eating soul food and all the super black stuff. I didn't grow up like that because I'm from California.
Mhm.
So we didn't. But yeah, it's just funny to observe, like, if it's a black table, you already know they're going to be
That
like,
is so
extra
hilarious.
sauce. They need Tabasco. They need salt and pepper.
That's awesome.
It's never good enough. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Thank you for
That's all I
giving me
wanted
that
to
info.
share.
This is what I'm getting at. And it's a funny thing, too, about the food thing. It's like, it really is across all people. And it's an example of who's an exaggerated example that shows the worst of us, in a sense, right? But it's a mess up. If you see it, any fast food place, it's like sauce this, sauce it up. It seems like borderline sinful. It's like all that sauce is
like
borderline sinful.
This notion of, like, the way it comes isn't good enough. I need it my way. I need extra this. I need this on the side. Like, it kind of ruins a lot of the experience of eating out. Like, the satisfaction is never there. And it tends to be with black people. That, in my experience, being in this industry, they are harder to please when it comes to their appetite. And it's so phony baloney because I'm like, y'all don't even have great food. Like, you know what I'm saying? What flavor are you looking for?
Yeah,
But
innovation.
that's all I had.
Thank you,
Talk about
Kaya.
that.
We'll get some on the ground reporting on this, and I appreciate
That's
that.
right.
Yeah,
All right, Nick,
in the
take care.
field. Thank you, Kaya.
In the
Appreciate that.
field, in the trenches.
Yeah, big time. Call me again,
All right,
Kaya.
cool,
Nice
thanks.
to hear from you.
I will. Bye.
888-775-3773. I came at a different angle, Jesse's been talking about the family and all that. But, there's other ways that the blacks, in a sense, are leading in destruction. And I say that, you got to understand, leading in destruction, it just means who has the most exaggerated example. But it's the same spirit, right? So it's a funny thing with the food. Everybody's just nuts with it, don't you think? Oh my gosh, the new crusted, sauced up Taki hot Cheeto concoction made in a lab thing from Taco Bell, blah, blah, like, and that kind of, I don't know if you've seen this, but that's not just fast food. It really isn't just fast food. Some of these menus and restaurants that I look at, I'm like, oh, I want to go hit that up or something. Now, let me just check it out. They got cool food here. It's junky. It's carnival, attention grabbing, sauce on out of control. We got Robert out of Kansas. How you doing, sir? You're on the air.
Oh man. Hey Nick.
Hey Robert.
Hey man, I've been on hold. I took some bong rips. I don't even know why I called.
Call me when you're not stoned.
Hey, okay, I'm not stoned. Listen,
Are you
Nick,
messing around?
No, these blacks. Let's pick. This is the Pick on the Black network, right?
Is that what you think?
Well, no, I know Derek is black. He's always real nice to me on the phone, and he's got to be a real tough guy.
You think I'm picking on blacks?
Well, no, just the whole network. Anyway,
Right, you think I'm picking on blacks?
Well, no, I wanted to pick on the blacks, like these blacks with their.
No, but I'm
spaghetti,
asking you a
right?
question first. Do you think I'm picking on blacks?
No.
Okay, I thought you were saying I was picking on blacks because I wanted to know what you
But
meant.
like, to pick on the blacks, like they always talk about cultural appropriation, right? And then they're cooking spaghetti, and I'm like, well, should I complain about this if I was Italian? Or like they're speaking English, and it's like, well, you speak our language. I mean, you talk about cultural appropriation. Anyway.
True say, man.
Yeah. Did you say something about covering your face earlier? What did you say? I can't remember.
I forget, man. Something about covering your face. Was it about the food? Maybe it was with the food. Covering someone's face. Should they be? I forget, man. This guy was making a face no one should make. Just like salivating over food in like an animal.
I was probably just listening. I probably wasn't seeing, but
yeah.
I know that whenever they had, there was some Christians that I talked to whenever the whole pandemic thing was going on, and they were men and they had their face covered, and I said something about a scripture, Corinthians 11:7 is what it is, and they just acted like, that didn't matter. And it's like, well, you are a grown man. If a woman wants to cover herself, that's her prerogative. That's always been the case, like throughout history. If she wants to, in the Bible, it says like cover her beauty, like to cover herself. That's what she should do so that, she's not looked at. But it says that a man covers his face like he's either a criminal or a pervert or something that is, he's trying to hide his identity. It's a dishonesty, right? It's a lie. And so, next time they tell you guys to put a mask on, just realize in the Bible, it's like a sin.
It's a sin to wear a mask.
Well, if you're a grown man, if you're an adult male, it's a sin to cover your image. Where if you're an adult female, you are allowed to have a veil or have something or a hat or something that would cover you in terms of showing yourself as the image of God.
Would you wear a mask?
I've never worn a mask, Nick. I got in a lot of trouble for it. I got trespassed, all sorts of bad stuff. So.
Yeah, I bet you would.
I know that I called in about Canada, right? You're from Canada.
Yes, sir.
What part of Canada are you from, Nick? Can you tell me?
I grew up in Ontario, basically. GTA area, Toronto, Mississauga, all over, really.
So
all over that.
That's out east with all the population out there and real close to United States population. Okay. Yeah, man. I hope Trump does take Canada, if necessarily invade it and take it at some point if things get so crazy that he has to. It's just like Greenland. It's the same thing. It's a strategic advantage against the powers that be that might be other nation states. If you do believe in the nation state power dynamic, which.
So you think that's a real you're one of these people who believes that's a real discourse? Canada becoming the 51st state?
I believe that, the proximity and the strategic nature of where it's located in concern with nations like China and Russia, I think that it's like we have a Space Force base on Greenland, right? So
right. You're describing it's right. That's a fair point you're making about the strategic positioning and all that. But the question was, are you one of these people who believe that this discourse with Trump and the 51st state, that's a real conversation, a real discourse about really making Canada the 51st state?
Well, maybe not right now if things are peaceful and there's not if you have the Chinese land in Alaska, right, or whatever, you have scenarios or with Russia that maybe a Mexico or a Canada, in terms of their positioning in the world, they would be it would be a threat if China or Russia was allowed to come into Canada. Right.
So you don't believe it's a real discourse, but I understand what you're saying. You see it's strategic and all that, and a whole bunch of maybes of the future, possibly. I got you, man. Robert, last thing you want to say here before we move the wheels?
I don't know, Nick. I have no idea.
Take care, sir. Call me again.
Okay, bye.
All right, folks. Let's move it on here. Did you hear about the helicopter thing? Has anybody mentioned this yet? Has anybody mentioned this one? Because the online discourse about it is woman crashes her helicopter. Right? Remember that helicopter? DC crash into that plane? That was a plane with people in it, 60-something. The discourse is some woman, well, back then the discourse was some woman, right, crashed the helicopter into the sink. DEI, blah, blah, blah. But now, with this article that came out with the New York Times describing the actual missteps, they're calling the missteps, equipment problems, and common but risky practice that brought down that helicopter and plane. Some are saying now the discourse is woman crashes her helicopter, woman goes against, goes against commands and crashes the plane, crashes her helicopter into this plane, right? And that's the discourse. That's the discourse. Woman refusing to listen. Warnings. I'm like, okay. I wonder what the real story is. It's a little exaggerated. Let me click it. Okay, let me see what they're actually saying. And you know what? That's not even exaggeration. So the New York Times basically ran a story on this January DC plane crash. And in this article, let me see, about on this computer, Lord, I got to log it. Because, New York Times, it's not like you could just open up New York Times and read it, right? You got to pay for it. And that's what I did. So, come on, hold on. There we go. Oh, Lord. This article is fascinating because, it ends in a funny way. They have all this details and stuff, but they hide their big takeaway until the end of the article, as they do. The lady helicopter pilot really did, in fact, ignore multiple warnings from her right seat about altitude, directly being told to turn away, and flew straight into a passenger jet, which killed 67, 11 on the helicopter, I believe. At least this person screenshotted it. That's the beginning of the, all right, missteps, equipment problems, and a common but risky practice led to a fatal crash. New York Times. The new details revealed by the Times showing the complex failures. So complex. The complex failures. And some of the details were interesting. I can't remember. Because it would be a little unfair. But this ending to the article is a kicker. The Black Hawk was 15 seconds away from crossing paths with the jet. Warrant Officer Eves then turned his attention to Captain Loback. He told her he believed that air traffic control wanted them to turn left towards the East River bank. Turning left would have opened up more space between the helicopter and Flight 5342, which was heading for runway 33 at an altitude of roughly 300 feet. She did not turn left. So, anyway, some of the reporting is a little bit... Anyways, but she's allegedly even repeatedly ignored warnings. Captain Loback said she would, but 2.5 minutes later, the Black Hawk still was above 200 feet, a dangerously high level, despite Captain Loback saying she would. The FAA mandated an altitude of no higher than 300 feet for that part of the route, meaning that an altitude of 400 feet would have been unacceptable and could have positioned the Black Hawk uncomfortably close to departing or landing airplanes. By about 8:44 p.m., it seemed to be in a more appropriate spot. As the helicopter approached the Key Bridge, from which it would fly south along the river, Warrant Officer Eves stated that it was at 300 feet and descending to 200, necessary because of the maximum height for its route closer to the airport. But even as it reached that juncture, Warrant Officer Eves evidently felt obliged to repeat his instruction. The Black Hawk was at 300 feet, he said, and needed to descend. It did not descend. It flew straight. What the? And, so, people are saying, oh, well, people are saying, well, it's a mistake, you know, it could happen, blah, blah, blah. Or they're saying DEI, woman pilot, all fine things to say. I think what can you really know? What can you really know about specific situations? What was actually at hand, the true factors behind an accident? I can't sit here and know, but in no way should that derail this conversation. It's like people are being placed in these positions where they shouldn't be, merely for diversity quotas and crap like that. That's really what's happening. That's really it. You know what I mean? But anyways, what else I was going to say about this? Just wondering if you heard about it yet. Was it incompetence? No one's saying it was like malicious. I'm not saying any of that. So you can stop with that. I think. Right? I've not even seen anything close to that. Anyways, I think we can move on. I got more calls. 888-775-3773. Golden Rule TV. You come into the show. You come here often. You sit. You enjoy the show. You sit there. You do your thing. I wonder, have you actually bought the coffee? For real. Golden Rule TV. Have you actually bought the coffee? He's saying Punchy's coffee is worse than pot. Oh, okay, maybe he's saying something else. But you guys got to try it. For real, try it before talking ish. And if you haven't tried it, you know, don't talk ish. Sincerely, try it. Punchy's coffee. I'm very happy and proud with the team here to put out a product we're happy with. I got people telling me they're throwing away their coffee after trying Punchy's coffee. No lie. They threw it away. They tried Punchy's coffee, they tried another coffee, and they tossed it in the garbage. And I'm not joking about that. I'm hearing it's fantastic coffee, premium grade stuff. The highest grade stuff. We're not messing around. Punchy's coffee. Rebuildingtheman.com/stores or jesseleepeterson.shop. Definitely try it. Just let me know. Okay. William, number 7 out of California. How you doing? You're on the air.
Hey, I'm good. Can you hear me okay there, Nick?
Coming in clear, William. Thanks.
Oh, excellent. So, I'm thrifty at heart. So, to continue the conversation with the coffee, I wait for my brand to go on sale at my local store for $7 for a bag. And so it's a 12-ounce bag, and I think it's pretty good. And so at $7 a bag, that comes to about 35 cents a cup of coffee for me at home. Maybe 40 cents with the cream and the sugar. So that's about what I pay for my own coffee.
Nice. That's how you like doing it. Have you tried Punchy's coffee?
Well, I mean, you guys talked about it a while ago, and I thought it was $24 before you even got tax and delivery and shipping.
Yeah, it's good coffee and supports Bond.
That's 4 times the price. That's quadruple. That's a lot. It'd have to be pretty good coffee.
You said what? You tried it?
No, it would. I'm kind of nervous to.
Oh, okay. Well, try it.
Yeah.
You should try it before saying anything.
Anyway,
because it's really it's really good. It's the highest grade coffee. It's pretty and it's price wise. It's competitive with that select grade of coffee. It really is. I wouldn't call it you go down an aisle in your grocery store. You have your 7s, your 14s, but this is a higher grade coffee, and you're supporting Bond.
Well, Well, this is normally $15 coffee I buy, but it does go on sale every
It's
other
better
month
than
for
that.
$7 for 2 days.
Right. It's
Anyway,
it's even better. It's
well,
even
Nick,
better than that.
I wasn't saying your coffee's bad or
No,
good.
no,
I
no.
just
And I'm not saying you are. I'm just making it
All right.
clear. It's better
Yeah.
than even that. I'm telling you right now.
All right. Well, and you probably know your coffee, probably.
Now I do. I'm in the industry.
So, hey, so it's really funny that you played that video about spaghetti because for the first time in 5 years, I made homemade spaghetti for the kid because he's like 16 going on 17, and he doesn't like spaghetti. So can I mention a store I went to? It's called World Market. You ever heard of that place?
No, I'm not familiar.
Suppose you can get food. Suppose you can get food from all over the world. It really comes from those places.
Nice.
So I went and got some pasta and some spaghetti sauce from Italy that came from Italy.
Mm.
And I looked at the selection. I brought it home, and I boiled the pasta. I got some really good beef from the local butcher. I sautéed it, put onions, mushrooms, real food, spices, real garlic. I simmered it. I made sure I browned it so it had that Maillard effect, so it'd be tasty. Then I
Nice.
simmered it in the sauce and made it al dente. Nick, when I ate that, I was like, because I haven't ate spaghetti in like 5 years because it can make you fat. Because I don't know when to stop basically. So I'll make a huge pot and just eat it till it's gone.
True.
But the kid looked at it and just kind of crinkled his nose, and he said he'd rather have Chef Boyardee.
Just give me the Chef Boyardee.
Dude, I was like,
Keep it simple.
Man,
Why
it
not
took
just
me like 2 hours to make.
Why not make him a little? Why not make him a little simple pomodoro?
What's that? I don't know what you just said.
It's like a 3-ingredient pasta. It's in my opinion, what he's liking of the Chef Boyardee is the simplicity. Consider a simple pomodoro pasta.
But he'll eat lasagna, which is I try to tell him, Jared. I didn't mean to dox Mike, but I'd say, hey, spaghetti and lasagna is the same ingredient. Like it's
You
sauce.
said spaghetti and lasagna are the same ingredients?
Well, yeah, it's pasta. Just in a different form, a different shape.
Sure.
You got sauce, you got meat, and not only that, but
Arguable, but I'm
lasagna
following
either has
you. I'm
ricotta-
following you.
Yeah, and then lasagna plus has either ricotta or cottage cheese, which he doesn't like by itself. So it's very confusing. So I just think maybe he liked Garfield as a kid, and that's why he likes lasagna. I don't know. As a real little kid.
Pickiness. I don't know what
But
it
yeah,
is.
I don't know, but I spent a lot of time on that.
Did he
spaghetti.
even try
And
it?
It wasn't real spaghetti.
Did he even try
Yes,
it?
He did try it.
So he
did.
tried
I
it.
got him to try it. Yes, he did.
Oh, but it was like a battle to try it.
No, he did try it. I asked him to nicely, and he did. He is maturing,
Mhm,
but he just
mhm,
crinkled his nose and said, I'd rather not have it. And I was like, man. So I ate it all
Yeah.
in 3 days. It took me
Nice.
3 days to eat it, but I ate it.
I wonder
So
what
that's
that
my
is.
story,
Pickiness.
I don't know.
You like what you
Maybe
like, and you like things that are familiar. You had the Chef Boyardee before.
Maybe.
I think that's
I
what
don't
it is
know,
with
man.
maturing tastes. You gotta have you ever had
Yeah.
something that you like and you eat a bunch of, and then you like maybe way later you come back to it and you're like, why did I like this? Why was I into this?
I used to love Chef Boyardee ravioli,
Yeah.
and now I don't. I used to hate tomatoes, but now I like them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a kid. Yeah.
I think it has
So
to do
anyway,
with
all right,
it has to
Nick,
do with
well,
comfort.
I just wanted to,
Totally, Wheeler. Thanks, man.
maybe. All right, peace out, man.
Call me again, sir.
Sure.
888-775-3773. Although we are at the end of the show, folks. A little loosey-goosey today. We had things to deal with. Okay. Shri Thanedar, your time is up. Your career's over. The anchor baby dealt with it. No more. Okay, that's it, though, from me, folks. We did the show, the super chats. I think we got a few more, in fact. Bible Talk with C-Sal. She says, Nico, if a couple of crashes are what's needed for us girls to be strong, independent women, pues ni modo. It's simply the price. C-Sal makes an interesting point. It's the price. It's the growing pains of liberated women And you know what, fellas? Either you're here for it or you're going into the gulags. Folks, thanks all my supporters, all my members there on D-Live, viewers on Punchy and D-Live. I meant my members on Rumble. Thank you for that. That's it. That's it for me. I'll be back tomorrow. More American Anchor, baby. But for now, take care. Manhood Hour, Hake Report, Joel Friday. More Anchor Baby tomorrow. Take care, folks. Peace.